Out of the Fog. I'm your host, Lydia Loveless. Tonight we're talking all things fitness and keeping motivated in the new year with personal trainer Paul Fifield. And we're going to be talking about hard cases with author Gereth Mitton. We'll be right back after this short break. And welcome back. Today I have with me a very special guest and friend, personal trainer Paul Fifield. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, Lori.
It's been a pleasure because I've always, admired your work, and I want to get into the fitness, and especially with the new year approaching and getting into the swing of the health kick. So we'll get into that now in a second. But Paul, for those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so thank you, Lori. My name is Paul Fifield. I've basically been doing group fitness classes, personal training for just about 18 years now.
Wow.
So it's always been a big passion of mine. It was kind of like a side gig, I'll say, but something that I really, really had a passion for. Especially group fitness classes, just the energy that people give, seeing the improvements people get the confidence. I just got a lot out of it myself and saw what the members were getting out of it as well. So from a personal standpoint, when I was about 13, 14 years old, I started working out in my bedroom. So lifting my school bag, doing some push-ups from like my closet, and just found, how good it felt. Mm-hmm. And from there, it gave me confidence. I could see changes in my body, help with sports as well. So I played volleyball and basketball in high school. So just loved the way it made me feel. I also did a program when I was about 17 at the old Muse Center as well. So again, from there, it just kind of took off. Didn't really do a whole lot with it until I was mid-20s, but then I got my chance to be a coach doing group fitness classes and do some personal training, and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow, and it seems like you're so passionate about it, and so tell us what's the most rewarding thing about being a personal trainer?
Well, the biggest thing for me is, seeing the results that people get. And when I say results, I don't always mean like what people are lifting or the weigh scale. To me, there are some tangible items which are great, but the biggest thing for me is hearing some of the things about how they changed their lives. Mm-hmm. Most recently, a lady now, she's been with me about 6-7 months. She lost her father there about 2 years ago, and she said she was in a bit of a rut, emotionally, all those things. And after a couple of weeks, she came in and said, my daughter looked at me the other day and she said, "Mommy, you're smiling again." And to me, that's the stuff. Yeah. Just the confidence it builds in people. And to me, again, everybody gets caught up with the weight on the scale, mm-hmm. or how much weight you lift or how fast you can run. To me, it's okay, so today I couldn't bend down and tie up my shoes, now I can. Or I couldn't get on the floor and play with my kids, now I can. So to me, they're the big ones. They're those aha moments. So that's the stuff I love to hear, right? Just people's confidence. Same thing, had a female before. When she was going to one of the bigger gyms, she would go to the women only section. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, that's totally fine, and I get it. So a couple months later, she came in and said, "Guess what I did today? I went in the group exercise area," and I was like, that's fantastic.
Wow.
So they're the big ones for me. Again, like I said, seeing people change, like body transformations, that's all great. But to me, it's the intangibles. So, your confidence, your energy that you have with your friends and your family, all that, they're the big ones. And that's what I think people need to take away from fitness. It's not, okay, looking at a cover of a magazine saying someone looks a certain way. It's all right. Am I feeling good? Do I have more energy? Because when you're feeling good, you have more energy, you have more confidence, then all the other aspects of your life start coming together. Mm-hmm. So that would be the biggest takeaway for me. And that's the biggest thing that I've seen. Like to me, that's more than somebody lifting X amount of weight. I'd rather see, again, those good feel stories about how it's translating into the real personal life.
And that's something I have to admit that I love seeing, people on social media, do their workout routines and things like that, but also the transformation and seeing that confidence and, like you said, the smile. So that's always nice to see. And do you encourage people to document their journeys and things like that?
Yeah, and I mean, so that's, up to the individual. And I always too, if your family members, if your partner's seeing you every single day, they're not going to notice changes as much as, say, a relative that you only see once every couple of months.
Fair.
But then it's like, oh, look what's happening. Same thing for an individual. I don't encourage people doing the weigh scales because, I would go by how your clothes fits, how you're feeling, energy, all those things.
Yeah.
But lots of times when we look in the mirror day to day, we don't see those small changes. But then when you see somebody that you haven't seen in, say, a month, 2 months, 3 months, they're like, oh my God, what's going on? And obviously that makes you feel good. And like everything, there's going to be ups and downs, ebbs and flows, and that's part of it, and that's life. And no matter what we're doing, you're going to get those ups and downs, but then it's just picking back up and keeping going. So if people want to document the progress as they go, then like I said, that's more of an individual preference, but by all means it's great to see. And then people also too have a reference point of where they started to where they are now. And a big thing for people to understand as well, process doesn't happen overnight. So if you see somebody or in the gym or like athletes, they just didn't all of one day put on a pair of skates or go to the gym and lift 200 pounds. They built up to that. Same thing with weight loss, whatever your goal will be. It's a process, it takes time. But then there's enjoyment in that progress and that process as well.
So now we're into the new year and we see people making like those, fitness kicks or those resolutions and things like that. And for me, especially, I sometimes I feel guilty because I probably overindulge, or I love to eat. I love my turkey. I love my Christmas cookies and things like that. So how would you recommend someone kind of getting that new kickstart for that healthy New Year resolution?
Yeah, and so whether it's New Year's or, any time that somebody wants to start something new, I wouldn't say, wait for a specific date, or let's say, if you've had a bad breakfast, I'll say a bad breakfast, not so nutritious breakfast and lunch, and you're like, oh, well, I'm going to wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till tomorrow, start now. So the big thing is for people not trying to change everything all at once. So again, let's say I drink 5 sodas a day, and I want to try to cut that back. Some people can do cold turkey, but also too, if I'm trying to change that, my eating patterns, also going to the gym, maybe getting out for walks, spending more time with family, we've only got so much motivation. So routine is a big one.
Yes.
And also too, finding something that you actually enjoy. So for me, I love hiking when it's nice outside. And that's something a couple of years ago, I'm like, no, I gotta go to the gym. But I'm like, you know what, I enjoy hiking, it makes me feel well physically, mentally. And the big thing is trying to include either friends and family into it and make it an event. So I used to love, now it's a little bit different, I've got 2 kids, work, all those other things. But when me and 2 of my friends would go for a workout downtown, and then we'd just go over to, say, the Duke, have a bite to eat, that was great. Because then it was turning it into a social aspect as well.
Right.
So that's the other benefit, again, of whether it's exercise in group or exercise by yourself, there's that social aspect as well. So it's great if you can include friends and family as well. So to me, if people making resolutions or trying to make the changes, it's trying to include it in your everyday life and try to include people that you enjoy being around. So that kind of creates that community vibe as well. So that's when that social aspect, that community vibe, that all makes a big difference to sticking to it and enjoying it. Because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it. And it doesn't always have to be the gym. It could be swimming, yoga, basketball, whatever you're into, whatever makes you feel good, get your body moving, that's what you want to do.
So for myself, I would consider myself slightly active. I do go for walks, I do home workouts and things like that. So what recommendations or advice would you give, someone like myself who's in the beginning stages of wanting to have a routine workout?
Yeah, so I would say start off small. Like all of us, we always think more is better. But again, once we start doing more, we've got to have a starting point. So for me, just give you an idea, I'm not a big jogger. I love doing like plyos, ball slams, stuff like that at the gym. But I'm not big into jogging. Yeah. So if I were to start jogging right now, I'm not going to start off doing 10 minutes straight of jogging. I'm probably going to jog 15 seconds, maybe walk for 45. give my body, my joints, my ligaments, my muscles time to get used to this new stimulus. So I think the biggest thing that people do is thinking that more is better starting off.
Yes.
So like anything, you want to ease into it. And it's like school. You don't start off doing multiplication, you would do add, subtraction. So same thing here. So we'd just be taking it easy, listen to your body. So again, if I'm doing a body weight squat and I can only go down this far today, okay, maybe in 2 weeks' time I'm coming down this far. So again, it's just giving your body, your mind some time to get used to this new stimulus. So everybody always thinks more is better, but then at some point your return on investment actually goes down. And also too, people are busy, right? Depends on what stage of life we're in. But if you only got 20 minutes, then do something for 20 minutes. That could be a walk, could be mobility exercises, could be a few planks, whatever it is. So again, that's something I really struggled with for a long time too, is like, oh no, I gotta get in for this super workout. Gotta be an hour and a half, gotta do a warm up, gotta do this, gotta go do a cool down. But like, life throws stuff at you, so maybe you only got 45 minutes. And sometimes those 45-minute workouts or 30-minute workouts are some of the best ever. So you just have to adjust what you're doing, whether it's the amount of weight you're using, the breaks that you're doing. So that's the other thing too, depending on how you're working out, people had to realize that your weights are gonna differ.
Yes.
Okay, the longer breaks you have, the more you can lift. Also too, if I'm going more of like a HIIT workout, then obviously I'm doing more body weight type stuff, and just to pace yourself. So that's the biggest thing to take away, is just ease into it.
So I keep reverting back to my personal thing, because with me, finding that motivation, like you mentioned, being busy, like I'm here and I'm working and I'm trying to be social, but I really want to get that workout out because I feel good about myself. So how would you recommend, like someone who's like myself, who's so busy, and to keep motivated?
Yeah, well, everybody only has so much motivation. So like you said, whether it's personal life, work, obligations that you have, establishing routine is a big one. So trying to have a routine that, you know, whether it's 2, 3, 4 days a week, maybe you go to the gym, 2, 3 days a week, you go for walks. And we all know once we get into the gym, or we go for a walk, go for a hike, go for a swim, whatever it is, we feel 100 times better after it's done. But it's the motivation of getting there. So lots of times, again, we only have so much motivation. So when that's gone, then the routine is what really kicks in.
Right.
And I think if people can put in, like, you know, a good, you know, I'll say 4 weeks, really feeling good, seeing what that routine feels like, then it's easier to keep that. Because again, you see, you know, how it translates into your personal life. Everything kind of flows a little bit better. So creating the routine is the big one, because again, we only have so much motivation, and once your motivation is gone, then the chances of you actually going and doing that extra step, that's less likely. So building a routine, I think, and making sure you make it part of your daily life. So again, everybody, you know, self-care is a big thing.
Right.
So again, whether it's yoga, weights, running, whatever it is, carve out a chunk of time for yourself. And I know as parents too, a lot of people feel guilty sometimes. Be like, okay, well, it's an hour I'm not spending with my child. But then that hour, then you've got all this energy, okay, to give back to your family, to give back to yourself. So again, it's a trade-off there. So it's just, I'll say, a short time away from people to give more energy back to them in the long run.
And Paul, you seem so passionate about it. So how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so on Facebook, Paul Fifield Fitness. Also Gmail, paulfifieldfitness@gmail.com. And I'm working out of the station in Mount Pearl, so that's where I do personal training. And I also offer group fitness classes as well, and that would be at Club Universal in Mount Pearl in the Donovans area.
Well, thank you so much, Paul, for being here with us today.
I appreciate it, Lori. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
And we'll be right back after this short break.
Your opinion matters, and we want to hear from you. Get in touch with us using our viewer feedback line, your direct connection to shaping the shows you love. It's easy. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, and take our quick survey. Share your thoughts, and let's make your viewing experience even better.
You're watching Rogers TV St. John's.
And welcome back. Today I have with me writer and author Gereth Mitton. Gereth, welcome to the show.
Hello, Lydia. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's so great to have you, because we've had connections and I wanted to finally meet you, and now I got you into the studio. And of course, I'm so excited to have you because you are an author of a genre, or many genres, that I enjoy. So we're going to get into that now in a second, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'll try to give the short version. As you can probably tell from my accent, I'm not originally from Newfoundland.
You're not from Newfoundland.
No.
Would never have guessed.
Yeah, but I have been over here for well over 20 years, and people are surprised that I still have such a thick accent. But as I like to say, I practice it every day. So I came over in the early 2000s, followed a girl, a Newfoundland girl that I met in Newfoundland. Didn't work out with the girl, though we are still good friends.
Oh, good.
And obviously a lot has happened in the last 20 years. But the short version is that I embarked on a career in advertising and marketing. Worked for a few of the local advertising agencies, and I work for upstream marketing. But my first love was always fiction writing, and I actually wrote a novel in university in England when I was studying English language studies, doing an English language studies degree.
Wow.
So I've now circled back in recent years to finally accomplish the dream of publishing a novel, and in fact 2 novels with a 3rd one now to come.
Wow. And so what inspired you to really say, I'm going to write a novel, I'm going to publish something?
I just always had a natural ability with writing from an early age. I'm no good at math. I always say I can't count past 10 without taking my socks off. But writing and art was really kind of what I excelled at in school, and just always felt very attracted to the idea of story, just the idea of story, really. And so much so that I did write a full novel while in university. I think I had it finished by the age of 20.
Wow.
But then proceeded to, life happened. A lot of things happened. Moved countries, got a career. And it went on the back burner and became a little bit of an albatross for a lot of years, to be honest, sort of a reason not to move on and not to write something else. So a friend of mine really kind of gave me a shake in around 2019, and I edited that novel, brought it to a local publisher who agreed to publish it, and then, that kind of opened the floodgates, and I wrote 2 novels in 2 years.
Wow.
After that, one of which is the one that we're talking about today.
Of course, and so this is the thriller novel that you have called Hard Cases. So tell us a little bit about what this novel includes.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I mentioned that I was in university studying English 20 years ago, and the idea for this novel actually arose then. It's been sort of in my head for 20 plus years. Bunch of English students standing around at a pub had the idea, wouldn't it be wouldn't it be great if a bunch of young people like us found a briefcase full of cash on the bus, and they were suddenly super rich, and there's a riddle inside, and they can get more money if they go and do this dare, and it kind of goes from there, progressively more money, progressively more danger, and I just thought it was a super concept, and it really kind of stuck in my head. And as I sort of, as I got back to my writing again, it didn't leave me, and it occurred to me that St. John's and Newfoundland more broadly would be a really great playground to set this kind of a novel. It really brings in sort of local places of interest that people will be really familiar with. Not too many, don't want too many spoilers, but the rooms, the Basilica, Churchill Square.
Historical places that people will be familiar or associate with Newfoundland.
Exactly, and having that familiarity, I've lived in Newfoundland, Atlantic Canada for 20 years, most of that time in Newfoundland. I consider myself an honorary Newfoundlander. And I think it's just really cool to see a story like this that feels like, it kind of feels like a sort of Hollywood blockbuster if it was set in Newfoundland. That's kind of what I was aiming for with it, and I hope that comes across. But also I have a real love of Newfoundland. I've lived in St. John's for many years on the west coast of Newfoundland, had former family in Gander, so those places are brought into it as well. And I really wanted sort of my love of the place to come through, and I hope that it does that too.
Excellent. And so what has the response been for this novel, and what your readers love about it?
Yeah, it's still early days. It only came out in October 2024. So, it was kind of this big push to get the launch out, and then we go into Christmas and it's kind of in stores, and I'm not sure really. I don't have any sense of sales figures. The only feedback I have is starting to come through now from readers and reviews, which have been good and been positive so far. People have said it's, a thrill ride. I had one reviewer say that he thought it was just so cool to read a story like this in the place that he lives, which is really kind of what I wanted to accomplish with it. Mm-hmm. I think, working with Flanker Press, they're a local publisher, and there are so many great authors in their stable. It's really opened my eyes to so many great authors and artists and creative people in general in Newfoundland. I knew that, but just the quality of stories, people sometimes think, local fiction, and sort of categorize that in a certain way. There are some tremendous writers in Flanker's stable, and I really encourage everybody to check out what the local authors are capable of.
And do you have a specific genre that you prefer to write or that you're more interested in?
I think I'm kind of weird in that I don't want to get trapped into genre, which is, as a marketing person, I know is a bad idea. Like, I'd be much smarter if I just said, look, I write thrillers. But this was actually a departure for me. The first book that I wrote in university was Pedestal. That's a hard science fiction piece, and I'm a big sci-fi fan.
Me too.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. So you should read that one too. But yeah, very sort of like inspired by, Philip K. Dick, that kind of Arthur C. Clarke, those classic sci-fi type books and the movies that came from that, Blade Runner, and love the Aliens series and stuff. So that was really sort of what I was most attracted to at first. But as I say, this was just an idea that just came up and incubated and just wouldn't leave me. And I just really thought, what a great story to set in such a great place, to have this kind of a story, thrills and spills and a little bit of action and drama and all that good stuff. So yeah, I think for me, science fiction would always be sort of my first love, yeah, possibly. But actually just to break out of that and write a real world thriller was just a great experience too. I really enjoyed it.
That's great. And so, do you have anything that you're currently working on or that you're planning on putting out in the near future?
I'm so glad you asked. Yeah, obviously, I want to talk about hard cases and sell as many copies as we can for Flanker, and hopefully, have a lot of success with that. But Flanker Press has graciously agreed to publish my next novel, which will come out in the fall of this year, 2025. That one's working title is Come Home, and it kind of has those science fiction elements, but stars the main protagonist is a girl from round the bay who is just a genius and becomes a rocket scientist. But she has these very visceral dreams of being in space. And that's kind of, I won't say any more about it than that, but that's how it starts.
Sounds so interesting. I love that. Yeah, it sounds like something I'd be really interested in.
I mean, it's something I would, I'm trying to think who it was. Maybe it was Neil Gaiman who said, write what you would like to read, write the stories you would like to read. And this is very much that for me, yeah.
Well, Gereth, thank you so much for being here, and I'm so excited to read this new book. And so, how can people find you?
Thanks so much for having me. I hope you enjoy the read. I think going to GerethMitton.com is the best way. All my socials are listed there, and the book's available at all good bookstores, as we like to say. Chapters, Coles, at Costco as well, or online, Amazon, Indigo, or directly from Flanker Press.
Excellent. Well, thank you again.
Thank you so much.
And we'll be right back after this short break. New year, new me. If you're looking for a fitness trainer, be sure to reach out to Paul Fifield and he'll help you with all of your fitness needs. And of course, if you're looking for a copy of Hard Cases, go to GerethMitton.com for more details. Until next time, much love.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
We want to hear from you. Provide feedback on this show or find out how you can get involved. Call, email us, or scan the QR code to take our quick survey.
For me, it all started here.
I do my best work here.
Scores! Oh my goodness! This guy's dangerous from here, here, and here.
We're watching history in the making here.
Are you watching this?
Our fans are up here.
I'm here for it. It's all about what's up here and what's in here.
Sportsnet, here for hockey.
Behold Emily Carr, painter, about to encounter the force that will consume her life.
How tightly they sealed their secrets from me, humble and pleading before the great trees, awaiting the invitation from the Spirit to come meet me halfway. Nothing is still now. Everything is alive. At last, I knew I must see through the eye of the totem itself, the mythic eye of the forest.
Seldom able to live by her brush, before she died in 1945, Emily Carr was in the first rank of Canadian painters.
This is my country. What I want to express is here, and I love it. Amen.
In para hockey, the ice tilts in favor